Hey birdies, hey fandom fam, it's me, Imani, the Childcare Inspire, giving you another video from Face Butterfly blog. So last week I talked about childcare burnout and my experience with it, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more information about childcare burnout, kind of like a little reminder of how, what's been like, how to like process and what to do, when you're going through it, and not have to feel like it's that you might not be doing a good job, or maybe this isn't the um, type of field for you, because we don't want to discourage people from walking away from something that they truly love. And like I had mentioned that I had to step away from working as a child care teacher, but I didn't get a chance to share that I've returned back as a sub to working at other schools. So I'm still doing childcare, but at a lesser capacity. But it's in a way that I'm able to really enjoy what I love, but be able to be at a way that I can manage it, be able to like manage a little bit better and be able to still gain the experience that I need to be the best teacher I could be. So, if you're a childcare teacher and you've been feeling constantly tired and overwhelmed or mentally drained, this is the video that's for you. And because a lot of people, they do feel this way within this field, but maybe people aren't really talking much about it. Like the school that I worked at, of course, they had mentioned that it is okay if you need a break to just let them know what's going on. But they're also managing their own class. The other like admin, they're working out on how to manage the school. They might be a higher up coming to visit to see if everything's up to standard. Parents could be coming conducting tours. So it's a lot going on. So they give you the opportunity to be asked for help, but sometimes we have to understand that there might be a chance that they can't just drop everything, be able to help you. So we want to keep that in mind, that they're not disregarding your mental health, but it might be a little bit more difficult on trying to difficult to do it while maintaining that demand. But that's not something to make you feel less discouraged about letting them know and reach out for help when you need it. So I've mentioned in my last video about what happened, and at the time I didn't really know that there was such thing as childcare burnout. Like I'm new to childcare. I've done it for about a little over a year. I'm thinking I'm doing the best teach that I can. They come and sit down, something's happening, something's going on, and it just makes me start doubting myself. And then when I've tried to take a step back from it, I had to face the option of that I would have to step away from something that I really enjoyed. And from that day, I was thinking that I should just push all this aside, because I love what I'm doing. I enjoy it. I didn't dislike it. Like either days, the thing that I would always say is that even though there were days that were difficult, days that I'm tired, it's all worth it. And so that was my excuse of saying I'm tired, because I'm tired, but I'm doing a good job and I'm like what I'm doing. So that means that this is all okay. This is all fine. I am fine. But I realized I'm not really that fine. I'm just trying to cover up the fact that I'm, basically not putting any effort in making sure that I'm okay, to make sure that everybody else is okay. And that was just something that I didn't really consider until then. So, you know, when I started realizing that this was happening, I realized that, you know, that just how much of an important job, but still, very stressful job being a teacher can be. Like you understand that you're impacting young children, that you focus so much on that you don't really think about like how it's impacting yourself, and how your acting can impact how you are towards your class. It's one of the most emotionally demanding jobs, most demanding positions and fields. You're constantly supervising, you're constantly managing multiple children at a time, managing big emotions. Even though I wasn't truly alone in my class, like there's another teacher who had to, overlook her own class along with my class. So we would give each other help, but still we were just kind of, managing our little group. And, it's two groups separated by one gate. So it's still, the energy is still kind of high. And it's still energy is still kind of high, even if it's two separate groups. They're still kind of within the same room, though it's technically supposed to be separate rooms. you know and you're rarely taking a mental break, because even when you're taking your lunch break, you're still thinking about trying to return back to class. One of the things that I would do is that I would plan out my activities for the rest of the week, or for the next day, during my lunch break because I wanted to make use of my time, and also I was creating content while I was working at the school at the time, sharing what the class was doing and what I'm planning to do. So it's still that balance, and still trying to find that balance, and not really accepting or creating a balance of what I was doing at that time, as well as when you return back from your break during nap time, you're not really breaking during nap time as well, because you're still thinking about getting set for the next, setting up for when kids are getting back to waking up. You are cleaning up, wiping down tables, making sure things are disinfected, or at least just wipe it down, make sure things are completely cleaned. You have to make sure that you're getting yourself set for when kids are getting waked up. You're making sure that you have diapers, make sure you have wipes, make sure that kids have everything that they need when they're ready to wake up. And getting kids ready, waking kids up, getting them ready for snack time, and getting diapers is still it's just as much of a process as them having their lunch, and like having them getting ready for their nap time. Like, it's always some process or some strategy that you have to keep your mind set and be able to remember each kid needing what as you're getting them. So it's just a lot of skill and mental power of having to bounce so much so much all of the time when you're there. So you know if you're exhausted, it doesn't mean that you're not strong enough. It just means that your environment is demanding a lot from you. So let's try to normalize, not for your where you are working, where you're being a teacher, but more for yourself, to remind yourself that being mentally drained and feeling overwhelmed, it does not mean that you're doing a terrible job, or that it just means that this isn't for you. It just means that you might need a little more help with managing what's around you, or just a little bit more help to be able to reach out to those that are, you know, those that you are working with, because they could probably be in the same place that you're feeling, needing some quiet time, understand that you might be feeling overstimulated because a lot is going on, a lot of things that you're keeping your eye out for, a lot of things you need to keep your ears out for, even lessons like doing from this way and that. It's just remember that you're not failing, and you're just responding to constant pressure that you're having when you're on the clock, being the best teacher you can be. you know when you when this kind of stress is building up, you develop irritability, emotional exhaustion. You take that stress from home, you feel disconnected, and that can affect not just you, but your overall well-being and how you present to your class. Like, it doesn't mean that you don't care, it just means that you're running low, and sometimes you need to find that support. And I'm not just talking about just any kind, just being realistic about the support you have. Like I mentioned, it might be a little difficult to reach out to your coworkers. So sometimes, part of setting that up is just creating maybe just small, realistic routines for yourself when you return home, taking that time to just sit and breathe right before you go home, when you're leaving for the day after cleaning up your entire classroom. And sometimes you just need to just sit in silence at work. Find ways to just reduce the stimulation around you. Just sit in your moment of stillness and focus on something that makes you happy, that gives you joy. Talking to your coworkers, talking to your co-teachers about, finding, understanding where you're coming from, because they're going through the same thing. You're not alone in this, so they can understand. Maybe talk to someone that at home about how you've been feeling. It's always good to just open up. And it's just sometimes those small moments, those small little changes of reset really matters. And also for parents, if you are parents who are watching this, you know, be sure to be patient with childcare workers. We are, like I mentioned before, we are not babysitters. We're doing a lot, and we're hoping that you could be able to help us along with helping your child as well. Like, we don't want to help. We don't want to, you know, be able to try to create and teach and develop all of these things to help your child, for you to just take your kid home and you don't do none of that. It's a partnership between the parent and the child care teacher, in helping your child. We don't want to have what we're building up and helping them do just fall flat just because they're doing it half of their day and then disregarding it when they get home, or get home for that night or weekend. And also for coworkers, be sure to check in on each other. We're all deal all working through and managing our classrooms. And we may have different issues, but they could be we're in a similar place. So be sure to be able to just take that time and check in to see if everything's okay. Be that support whenever it's possible. I'm not saying just be the support all of the time, just when we need it. And also to just keep in mind how teachers are feeling at that time. It's just, just something to just keep repeating is that we are all people who are working within a very important field, and we want to be able to be the best that we can and not have to think that we're just by ourselves doing this. If you need to, you can meet maybe either outside work or maybe when you're having that break time, just have a chance to just sit and talk. Like I mentioned, those little things always help. And also just remember to overall normalize being overwhelmed. You do a good job of letting us know, letting do a good job in letting each other know that we are, feeling overwhelmed. But I think we should, I think that all of us, including, maybe admins, like this is just from my experience that admins should take the time to really just think about what someone is really going through so they don't have to just walk away. I think that there is a high turnover rate because of the stress that childcare teachers have. I might talk a little bit more about that in one of my videos on social media. Follow me on social media, Faith Butterfly Blog. And so, and I think that a part of that is because of all the stress of the high turnovers. And we don't want to do that. Like, we love our jobs. We love working with kids. We don't want to sacrifice that stuff because we feel like we're not being in a place where people are hearing us or that we have to be on the verge of a breakdown. It's just something that's just to keep in mind. So if you're feeling like this, it's not in your head, you're not imagining it, and you're not alone, and you're not doing anything wrong. It's just to know that you might be carrying a lot without realizing it. I know that happened to me. I think everything's fine. I'm being tired, but it's worth it. But you're tired because you're not taking the time to make sure that you're your best self so you can be the best for the kiddos. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think within chat. Have you ever felt burnout while in childcare or in caregiving? Like, maybe you're not a childcare teacher, but maybe you look after kids at some capacity. If you ever felt that, just let me know what you think. Share to me what is the hardest part. So just remember to subscribe to all my social media as well as this social media, the YouTube. I'm very active on Facebook and on Instagram. So follow me on there as well as all my other social media. So I'm going to be going. Hope you guys have a very great weekend, and I can't wait to share more with you on for the rest of the week. Remember to stay blessed and prayerful, fear less, care more, and have the loveliest of lovely days.